All right. Hello, everybody. Man, oh man, it's been a while. But to say that nothing has happened would be quite incorrect. So it's been a battle. I've been not only dealing with problems with the car, but I've also just been busy doing other stuff. For those that don't know, and I may still do a video on it because I think it'd be really helpful. But um, I did complete the 75 hard program. So, for those that aren't aware, there's 5 tasks that you have to do daily, and one of the tasks being 2 exercises, one being outside, both 45 minutes each, but they have to be separated by 4 hours. If you think that's easy, it's not. Life just kind of does its thing, and you can do one workout, and then that second workout just somehow you have to squeeze it in, and then also reading the 10 pages. It gets difficult. The diet was pretty easy, but there was a few things that were a little bit difficult, and you just learn a lot about yourself along the way. But that was one thing that I was doing, as well as working on the car and also, real estate on the side. Sold my first house, and I also did a lot of rental showings. So busy doing that. I went to the track once, but I didn't record anything for that. I went to Dominion. After the last VIR event, I signed up for Dominion as a last minute thing, and I just wanted to try it out, see if I had solved the problem, which I did absolutely nothing to the car. So I was just being ridiculous at that point. But anyway, I went to Dominion, and the car continued its trick of overheating. And I was bleeding or burping the system, blah blah blah, this and that. I thought I had a bad temperature sensor in the crossover pipe of it. It was just a whole snafu. So I've been chasing this problem ever since, and it's been a couple of months. And then while I was chasing that issue, the next issue that came up, and I'll turn you guys over to the now so you can see it. But I got rid of the old one, so you don't even see that anymore. But the Cobb Flex Fuel Gen 1, if you want to call it that, I don't know. They don't even offer it for my car anymore. So that's a unfortunate thing. I have the old kit. So started having issues where I got a low voltage sensor reading on the what I thought was the sensor. So I thought I was going to have to change this out. And then I thought possibly my for whatever reason the O2 sensor was going out and blah blah blah. And on the Cobb system, the harness is integrated into the module. All everybody probably is more intelligent than I am on wiring and all that fun electronic stuff. I knew absolutely nothing, still know hardly anything, but I had to dive so deep into this that I kind of knew what was going on. Unfortunately, I don't have the old system with me anymore. It was taken away in the garbage today. But this is the new module, and it's connected by a harness. On the Cobb system, the module and the harness were integrated. So at the bottom of it, on a previous post, you'd be able to see it, but the wires were literally I don't even know how to describe it, but they weren't melted in, but they were soldered to a circuit board, and then the wires were grouped together and kind of melted and joined together in a way. I'm describing it very badly, but anyway, if the module went bad, you needed to replace the harness, and that was that. Luckily, through all my research, it's going to be a rather long video, y'all, so I do apologize, but there's been a lot that's been going on. Holy goodness. So anyway, I thought it was the sensor that was going bad, so I bought one off a Summit, and me being impatient, I didn't want to wait for it to arrive because I'm me. So I found one down in Suffolk at a O'Reilly's there, so I went and picked that up, came here, plugged it in. I thought I had fixed it. I did 2 pulls with the new sensor in, and when I went to go for the third, boom, popped the Cobb 1 check engine light and was limited again to 14 pounds of boost, and I wasn't seeing any accurate readings on the access port. So I was like, well, shoot, I guess I just damaged another flex fuel sensor, which through my reading, the flex fuel sensors hardly ever go out. They're stout things, stout units. So I went through everything. I did not know what the heck was happening. And then ultimately, I decided, you know what? Well, I also had a misfire in cylinder one, which you could actually hear, which was bad. That's the first time I've ever been able to hear a misfire in this car. So I swapped out the spark plug in cylinder one, went out again, just cruising this time. The check engine light popped off. So I was like, well, shoot, okay, back to square one. And then through all of my research, I ended up finding Penguin Racing PTR, and it's upside down and you can't really see it, but that's what that company is. Let me go get the flashlight really quick, and here's my chaos, but it's organized chaos. Anyway, so there you go, upside down, because that's where I had to mount it. But anyway, I didn't know what to expect with that module and harness, but thankfully when I went out, like, the significance and difference to the feel of the car, even for when it was on track, was mind-blowing. I have a feeling that module, and by the way, the fail was because the cob unit mounts in either of these two holes, so it's just getting heat soaked by the intake manifold. So PTR, mounting it on the box. Sorry for switching back and forth so many times, but this is unscripted. So they recommend doing that. Some of their pictures and whatnot have the, mounted to like holes and such. Came with Velcro, so I just Velcroed it to the side of the fuse box. So if I need to pull it off and whatnot, it's easier to do that. So anyway, went back out on the street, and it was fantastic. Car felt amazing and blah blah blah, but then I started running into the old problem yet again, where I had an overheating issue and temps were getting above 200, and when they hit after they hit 205, just the temps skyrocketed up to 230, no issues, and then kind of hovered around there. On track, I eventually got to one point up to 140 or 248, and I know some of you are probably like cringing right now. I was doing the same, and it was on track. But anyway, I didn't know what was going on, so through all troubleshooting, and this situation, when I get to the end of it, is a classic case of Occam's razor, and I just didn't read the signs, and I didn't start with the simplest solutions first. Really, I did halfway. There's one of two parts that I had to replace, and everything would have probably been fine. But in the end, I'm not upset with how I actually went about things, because I resolved some other issues that were probably underlying and would have crept up eventually. So anyway, I thought, so at first, let me go back over here and grab this guy right here. So, me being stupid, I initially had, and I hadn't done any research and all that stuff, but I don't even have pictures of when I got the car back from the tuner or my builder, and I'm pretty sure my builder did it correctly. I'm just an idiot. But I had the Koyo cap on the radiator, and I had this brilliant guy where it was supposed to be, kind of, up on the top here on the expansion tank. And this was actually capped off. So, these are both two-way valves and blah, blah, blah. So I ended up finding out that you're supposed to have a one-way cap on the radiator and a two-way cap on the expansion tank. So I ordered that kid right there, and I was still having some issues, so I decided to uncap and go back to like the OEM style hose routing. And generally there is a washer tank right here, but because of my boost pipe, I had to cut off the edge of it, which you're not going to be able to see very clearly even with the flashlight. But anyway, in order to fit the boost pipe there, intercooler pipe, I had to trim off one of the hangers, or the part that hole went onto for the OEM expansion tank. So that's gone in a way. but usually the two hoses would route here, so I ended up routing, got some silicone hose, and it's just routed, pretty stealthily through the top portion of the radiator, and then I reteed it back to the ETS rotated kits expansion tank, or coolant reservoir. So I have this hose going from the expansion tank, teeing off and joining the hose from the radiator going into the expansion tank, if I explain that well enough. So that goes into the expansion tank, or the overflow. That's from the radiator. That's from the expansion tank, blah, blah, blah. When that two-way valve does its thing, it just sucks water straight out of the overflow. So I had the factory cap on the expansion tank, and I had this cap, which is the one-way valve, here. And I was still getting overheating issues. Couldn't figure out for the life of me what it was. And a buddy of mine was like, hey, dude, how about... It wasn't my friend at first, actually. It was me. I was like, you know what? Let me check the header. And I did a little bit of research. It's been 5 years since this thing has been built, and I've even touched it. So now the car is like kind of telling me it needs some attention, and I need to start working on some things. Now it runs perfectly though. So I went down to the bottom, and on the header, I kind of noticed there was a little bit of fading on the ceramic coating for the header, and you're not gonna be able to see that, but I ended up deciding, you know what? Let me go down and check it out even further, and hopefully I can get you guys to see it well enough. And sorry for all the shakiness, but let's see here if you can see it well. Kind of, yeah. See how it's melted? So that's not how that's supposed to be. That is the radiator shroud, and you can see that hole actually right there. That is not supposed to be there. And even the fan blades, which I'll try to see if I can rotate it a little bit. There's a fan blade right there. You can barely see it, but that's it right there. Looking down from the top of the engine bay, it's like less than an inch away from the header. So with that being said, I decided, after talking to a friend and getting some thoughts out, to wrap the header. And I also replaced the gaskets on the head and on the up pipe. So those are all new. And I kind of noticed that I started to notice that the temps were a little bit slower to rise. So that was cool. But then I went out on the road again, and I had the exact same issue with overheating. I let it warm up to about 160 here in my driveway, and then by the time I got to the end of the road, it got to 203. I pulled out of my neighborhood road and went onto one of our main roads, and within, I would say, about a minute, the water temp was up at 230. So I turned back around, slowly putting it, and pulled it back in the garage, and I had no idea what the heck was going on. And finally, I was like, you know what? Let me just take a guess. And that's what I did. So what I did was I took off this OEM cap from the expansion tank and put on the Koyo cap. Now that cap, I'm not sure if that was bought new when I had the car built, but I will just say I have it, regardless of if it was only 5 years old or 14, or like, I don't know if it was replaced when I bought the car or if it's one from 2010. Couldn't tell you. So it could be 14 years old. It could be 18 years old, almost 20. But that thing had to have given out, because when I came back, I had a little bit of water dripping from the overflow reservoir. You could actually see it on the outside, and it came on the frame rails. There was some water coming from over here. I'm not sure where. I think maybe it traveled over. That's just speculation. Still don't know about the driver's side. Anyway, came home, let the car cool down, put that cap onto the expansion tank, and just gambled and went out for a drive. lo and behold, the thing held. I was out with the like I pulled out of the pulled out onto the neighborhood street. Temps were slow to rise. Went around the block, still nothing crazy. So I decided to go get some food, and still by the time I got to the grocery store, nothing. And then I decided just to cruise around on the highway and through some of the higher speed streets here. And the highest the temp got was to 199, and that was through like in the middle of a third gear pull. As I was shifting into fourth, I got scared, but as soon as it hit 199, it just screamed right back down to 190, and it continued because the fans don't turn off until 180. That's how the car is tuned. You guys didn't know that. Anyway, drove around and it was perfectly fine. Today I came back and I started it, but I bled the system a little bit. It took a little bit of water. I'd say maybe about 16 ounces, if even that, and let it warm up. Did 2 cycles or 2 fan cycles. Heater off, and then I turned the heater on so I could get the heater core cycled through as well. And then I went back out for a drive. Perfectly fine. It was amazing. I didn't see temps I didn't see 198 until I had gotten onto the higher speed roads, like just traveling, and it was raining and whatnot, so it wasn't all that hot today. It wasn't raining; it was sprinkling, if anything. But I got back perfectly fine, and now the car just sits on its natural habitat, as you all know. So got that figured out. Now what I've got to figure out is I had a squeaking problem, or I have a squeaking problem, I should say. I still have, and I have realized it's coming from the front wheel. I don't know what's happening, but there might be a loose bolt or something, which is terrifying. And now that I look at it, like the rotor's kind of heated in spots, but seems fine. It's not grooved or anything. It's perfectly smooth still. But on the rear, I thought the scraping was coming from the rear, so I cut that off, which is part of the dust shield on the back. But all it does is flap around anyway, and it probably hits the rotor. Probably not good for it. So I just cut it off, and so now there's like 3/4 of the dust shield left on that. And so now I need to take off back on jack stands for the reason of me investigating what the heck is going on up here. It drives fine going forward. When I'm at speed, though, it does make a sound when I'm turning either way. So I don't know what that's about. But when I'm in reverse, it binds up super hard. I'll accept anybody that's a YouTube mechanic to let me know what's going on or what they think is going on, and I'll check it out. So I got that. And at the last Dominion event also, I ripped out the fender liners. That still got part of it in there, but there ain't nothing blocking the tire from hitting anything or flinging rocks up at wires and such. So I have one fender liner here. I'm waiting on the other fender liner to arrive. I'm not sure why they didn't ship together, because they're both from the same seller and they were a package deal, but whatever. Got the other one on the way, so I'll get that in there, and then I'm going to do some basic maintenance. I want to change the rear diff fluid, or at least check to see what that looks like, but just for precautions, I'm going to change it out anyway. And then, as I didn't really allude to it, but I do have new spark plugs, so I'm going to put those in before VIR. And now we get to one of my favorite parts. I don't know if I even showed it. I don't think I did already, but right there you can see a little bit of a hint of it. But you'll see that I have 2 different seats. So I took the NRG guy out of there. It's too low, it's getting worn out, and I wanted something that was fixed back and kind of smaller, because I have friends that are all bigger than I am, taller, wider, all that fun stuff. So I got seats that could accommodate them, or at least could fit all of my friends, bigger and smaller, as passengers. So for me, this car is really just going to be driven by me now going forward. So I decided to go and get a race quip, one of the more simpler and cheaper fixed back seats. But my goodness, it's already proved its worth. I still have the anti-submarine belt to put in there, but the difference is absolutely phenomenal. For the first time, this might make some people cringe or shake their head, but my eyesight has been just barely over the dash. Sorry about that. Has just been barely over the dash for the past like 4 years. Now I'm able to see fully over the dash, and I'm actually hinting at this already, but I've got a new steering wheel as well. I got this because I want to, at least at some point, re-engage the horns, because I'm starting to get irritated with people on the road. And I haven't heard the hello horns in a while, so I wanted to get that. But more importantly, I wanted to get something so I didn't have to wear gloves, which I'm just crazy, and I still have them in the car. But I wanted to get one that was leather on the sides. Didn't really care to have Alcantara at all on the wheel, or suede, whichever one you want to call it. I believe it's Alcantara. But I just wanted something with leather so that I could grip the wheel. It's super humid here in Virginia, and my hands would always get sweaty in the gloves and whatnot. And the gloves were getting torn up anyway by the old steering wheel, just because they weren't driving gloves. But now I can drive this on the street with no gloves, and I'm pretty sure it'll handle just fine on the track with the driving gloves, the racing gloves. So there's the interior bits. So I got those new things going on. And last and finally, my goodness, back to the chaos. But so I was thinking that as my coolant or not my coolant reservoir, but as my flex fuel system was going out, I was like, well, this sucks. This is going to be very expensive, and the only solution to fix this is to go Haltech or aftermarket ECU of some sort. Thankfully, I ended up finding PTR, so that was that. But one of the things wanting to do, one of the key features I wanted out of the aftermarket ECUs is the ability to rev match out a downshift. So I was thinking maybe I'll have to get something like a special module or whatever for my gearbox, and I can't remember his name, but it's the dude with the 4-rotor RX-7 who had the air actuated paddle shifters. I was like, well, I'm gonna have to go something expensive like that, or get an aftermarket ECU, do something like sequential something. I was just doing a lot of research, and then I ended up finding 2 companies. One hasn't made a module for my year model yet, so they offered to possibly give me one for testing, which would be cool, but given that I'm going to have what I have now, I don't think that's going to be an option or going to be a thing. So anyway, what I've been wanting to do is, because I've never gotten into heel-toe shifting, and as you probably see, and you probably cringe a lot, as I'm on the track, when I'm coming to a corner after a high-speed straight or something, I will press in the brakes, slow down enough to the point where I believe, I'm going to fall off in 6th gear and just like kind of stutter, and then I push in the clutch and I shift into the gear that I know I need to be in to come out of the corner, and I hardly ever get up to the proper RPM, so the RPM just kind of shoots up, probably a shock to the engine. So I wanted to get something that was auto rev matching, and I know the new Civic Type R's have that. And so when my buddy showed me, I was like, "Oh, dude, you're cheating! Like you got the auto downshift, or the auto rev match for downshift, blah blah blah. You don't have to heel toe, and that's something I've got to learn to get better and all that stuff." But no, now this system from Exoneer, I am super happy to have found. It's quote unquote non-invasive to the car itself. It doesn't actually cut or anything like that to the wires. So here's the module itself. It's already pre-programmed for what they say Subaru likes, and this company is known for the, I guess, Corvettes, and they can correct me if I'm wrong, but I know there's a lot of Corvette people that do have this, and then some Mustang folks, which I found out why all these Mustangs seem to sound so good when they're coming to a stop. It's because they are fitted with this. The GT350s are not, though. But anyway, instead of digging into all this, here's the module, here's the harness or the plug that goes to it, and then got the throttle, and then the plug that goes to the harness that goes all the way across the car. Somewhere in here is an on-off switch, so I can turn it on when I'm on the track, turn it off, and I can just drive it down the street like it's normal. And then the cabling here. So yeah. What I should be able to do is when I am on the track, obviously for safety, and I'm not a crazy person on the road, but what I should be able to do is slam on the brakes and then push in the clutch, and when the module senses that both the clutch and the brake is hit and then the clutch is hit, it gives me a 300 millisecond blip in throttle of 50% to be able to downshift into the next gear. And then I've got I can't just go crazy clicking or kicking the clutch, because I have 300 milliseconds between each shift between each blip. So can't just go crazy with it. Can't just jump from 6th to 3rd. Gotta roll down the gears as you normally would, or as you safely would. So hopefully braking into corners, going into turn 13 on VIR, and also going into turn 1 should be a lot smoother. Maybe even going into turns 3 and 4 for VIR as well. So we'll see. And I don't know how well it'll work for Dominion, but I imagine there's two like hairpins back to back. One of them I reached the end of 3rd gear pretty quickly. I'm like at the tail end of 3rd gear, so maybe now I'll be able to shift into 4th gear, and then slam on the brakes, kick the clutch really quick, downshift into 3rd, and then go around the next corner. So I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of driving behavior change, but once I get the hang of it, I'll be able to hopefully vastly improve my times. And seeing some videos of the guy that the company recommended me to go watch, like, that dude rips it on the track. It is amazing watching him downshift and not struggling with it. No heel toe, goofy action. Not that heel towing is cool, but it's definitely another element of driving that you would have to learn, where you could have a computer do it, which I kind of hate saying that, but at the same time, if it works, it works. So anyway, y'all, I know, long video, but this car has kind of been a nightmare. But like I said, Occam's razor, I went through all that trouble, and the solution probably the whole time has been get the non-wing cap on the radiator and get a new cap for the expansion tank, and all would have been fine. But going and wrapping the header when the ceramic coating is wearing off. Now I'm also going to send it to Jet Hot to get it re-ceramic coated to a lighter color, so that I don't know the science behind it, but hopefully it doesn't radiate as much heat. And then maybe in the future upgrade my fans, but we'll see. But either way, y'all, that's what I've been doing for the past couple months. You just don't get to see the real estate side. You get to see the grungy, like, garage me. But trust me, there's a lot going on, and only more going on in the future. But motorsports is still my thing, so I do apologize for being consistently inconsistent. Hopefully I can fix that issue. Money is also a thing. Still working my way towards being able to finance this. Either real estate's going to finance this, or this is going to finance real estate. But yeah, that's the end of it. So I appreciate you all watching, and maybe I'll have a video before the track, because it's in 2 weeks, but we'll see. But until then, stay driven, y'all. Thanks for watching. Hey y'all, so I just wanted to do a quick little video at the end of this video, just to gauge the audience and see what y'all would like to see. So The reason why there was such a long break between my last video and this one was because of all the trials and errors that I was, mentioning in the longer portion of this video. But if that's something that interests you and you don't really care, like the only reason why I didn't film any of the trials and errors was because I didn't want to drag out one problem for multiple videos. Like I couldn't tell you how many times I took that car put it on jack stands. Put it on jack stands, put it back down, went out, did a test drive, came back really quick, back on jack stands, swapping out sensors, all that stuff. I just didn't want to make a video of doing all that troubleshooting and in my way of doing it, which was kind of the stupid way, just because it was the first time I had ever experienced that issue. I could have got it right on the first try, but it was the first time I've ever experienced those issues. So the way that I went about it just happened to be that way. Now I've got my lessons learned and I know what to going forward. But if going through all those trials and errors and seeing like how I learned things or anything like that, you guys could also give me feedback, which would be awesome. So I could probably learn something from you all as well. But if you wouldn't mind seeing videos like that, of me just troubleshooting and having multiple videos on probably the same issue if I can't resolve it the first or second time, blah blah blah. Just let me know, and I can try and do that. I don't know how they'll go out, or maybe I'll just do a random, right on the spot recording of it and see how it goes. So just let me know in the comments if you'd like to see me solving issues like a normal average Joe does, learning as he goes, or if you would like me to do something like what I just did, which was wait a while, figure it out, and then report it on the end. Looking forward to hearing your feedback. All right, till then, stay driven.